Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 14. The Ultor Corporation. Dane Vogel is an example for what the best of you can become. A businessman who serves as my thrall. This mega-corporation exists at my leisure, and assuming it continues to serve my interests, I will allow it to persist.
God, this feels good. Fucking collectibles.
Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 40. Shadow Demons. Relentless assassins. The Shadow Demons teleport from rooftop to rooftop, ensuring that there is no place to run to in hell. A Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 25. The Forge. For the time being, mineral rights in Hell have been granted to the Ultor Corporation, and the Forge is where they mine and process the materials that are used to build the very foundations of Hell.
Bad place to take in the view. Woo! This is what I'm talking about.
These Marines aren't going to catch themselves. It'll help if you please.
Let's see what these things can do.
A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 11, Eternal Suffering. Often the first instinct a newly damned soul has is to kill himself, hoping that it all gets sorted out the second time around. Well, that's a mistake. The soul explodes into 1,000 pieces and slowly and painfully reforms over the next 100 years. So the next time you see one of those spineless souls running for cover, you'll have a better idea as to why. Why didn't I lead with that tidbit? To punish those who think they can survive without heeding all my words.
Pawn shop in hell. I'll take my chances making a deal with Dane.
I knew that when the leader of the Saints came down here, he wasn't going to be interested in hearing what I had to say unless I had a pretty fucking big peace offering. Perfect opportunity came after Blackbeard robbed Satan's palace and stole Lucifer's halo. Blackbeard knew that he had to unload it fast before Synterpol raided the Barrens, so he was willing to put a price on an otherwise priceless artifact. It cost me a fortune, but it was worth it. Satan would never suspect that I had it, and I could bide my time until the leader of the Saints was hellbound. My plan was solid, but not even I could predict a shotgun wedding.
A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 7, The Day to Day. Every day will be terrible.
God, this feels good.
A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 17, The Battlegrounds. This graveyard is where dead of the previous war on Heaven were buried. Here it is rumored that demons and angels alike haunt this place to this very day. A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 20, The Flotsam of Hell. Newer souls often marvel at the floating islands that surround Hades. The reality is that those islands are not rock at all, but fossilized remains of the beasts of Babylon. Winged creatures that once served me, but in their hubris dared to believe they could overthrow me. As punishment for their mutiny, I encased them in stone where they flew. To this day, their blood still rains down, burning the pitiful souls that walk below.
one more. Yeah!
The Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 8, The Archdukes. Every marshalling ground is overseen by one of my Archdukes, the fiercest men and women of my army.
Downtown looked like a shithole when I first got here.
In all fairness, you were in hell.
True, but where others saw status quo, I saw opportunity. I knew that if I wanted to revitalize downtown, I would need clout and capital. I just needed to find the right business venture to get started. I looked at the market and saw that Centerpol was the only game in town for defense and law enforcement, and knew I could create a powerful alternative. Soon, Cerberus Security was founded. Viola and I always did everything together.
Played together,
Went to college together,
traveled together.
formed a criminal empire together.
I always thought that we would die together.
Sorry, V. Beat you to the punch on that one.
After you died, all I had was revenge. I never thought that I'd...
Feel whole again?
Yeah.
I love you, sis.
Me, you too. By the time I showed up in hell, Cerberus and Centerpol were already locked in a bitter fight for dominance of the marketplace.
We never would have pulled ahead if it weren't for you.
You would have pulled it off.
I'm not so sure. The strategy you put together was brilliant on both the martial and marketing side. I'm good at getting things started, but you were the one who always put the exclamation point on a plan. With us reunited, it was only a matter of time before we were on top of the world.
A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 19, Downtown. The De Winter sisters have revitalized downtown to make it the destination for high-end debauchery.
Revitalizing downtown wasn't about profit.
It kinda was about profit.
A little bit.
Like 50%.
The point is that it was also about making an impact. An eternity is a long time, and we both wanted to carve out something beautiful in this terrible place.
Like Dane says, hell's what you make it.
Got it.
A Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 23, Centerpol. This privatized militia is one of the two primary peacekeeper groups in Hell. Obey them, and they may only beat you within an inch of your life.
I'm coming for you. Far be it from me to tell the devil how to do his job. But if I was running things, this thing would have guns. Lots and lots of guns.
Things are going perfectly. Downtown was rebuilt in our image, the money was rolling in, we had an amazing penthouse.
But then something happened. Centerpol, who was long since relegated to obscurity, came back with a vengeance.
They had new gear, new weapons, and new purpose. Destroy Cerberus.
Someone is funding them, and we are going to find out who.
These barons aren't going to cleanse themselves.
Damned Soul's Orientation Guide, Chapter 9, The coming war. The time is coming when the heavenly host and the demonic horde will have their final battle. And while I will personally deal with my father, Hell needs a general that will lead us to victory. Vlad was found wanting. I have my sights on another.
God, this feels good. Sounds like someone's singing in there.
The Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 10, The Pit of the First. The center of New Hades is where I made my descent from heaven. As I crashed into Hades, I fractured the land into the 5 islands that now spread before you. As you pass the Pit of the First, it is customary, though not required, to bow your head in reverence. A Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 26, Old Hades. When Father cast me out of heaven, he intended Hades to be a pleasant time-out space. But my fall shattered his gilded cage, and my anger twisted hell into the world that now spreads before you. A Damned Souls Orientation Guide, Chapter 34, The River Styx. The River Styx surrounds New Hades, providing warmth and light. I recommend every soul to go for a swim in the river at least once. It's quite the experience.
Lost count on these things.